is, how many scoops of ice cream did you try?
How many did you try?
Nothing that mattered.
Hello, everyone. Today we are talking about Sister Wives Season 18 Tell All Part 4. All right, let's go ahead and just jump right into it. The show starts out with Meri talking to Suki about Christine finding love. Meri says that she doesn't actually know David well. She just met him a few times, but he seems nice and that Christine seems really happy, and she is really happy for Christine. And after that, it switches over to Janelle, and she talks about meeting David. She says he is a breath of fresh air. And after this, it goes over to Kody, and he says that he met David briefly, but he doesn't really know him well, and David spent most of the time talking to Robyn, but Robyn says that David is really sweet. Now, there is a part of this I picked up on. I can't figure out if I'm reading too much into it or not, and it's very possible I am. I'm going to put in a clip here of something that Kody said that I just picked up on it when he was talking about David and Christine. Go ahead and listen to this.
Christine has chosen him, so I think that it's a good match.
So Kody actually says this a few times during this tell-all. He says that Christine has chosen David. Now, what this makes me think about is all the times during this past season and the season before this one where Kody has made it clear that Christine courted him and chose him. Like Christine was pursuing him. She made the choice. That he didn't choose to be with her. Kody really emphasized that the last two seasons, and he's still sort of using that same language. And to me, it seems a little bit odd. Again, I could be reading way too much into it, but I just know for Kody, it's a big deal that Christine chose to pursue him. He didn't choose her, and now he's saying she's choosing David. Well, you know what? This is a more traditional marriage between just two people. It sounds to me like they're choosing each other because they love each other. But again, I don't know. Maybe I'm just giving him a hard time. You guys let me know if you picked up on that and what you think about it down in the comments. After that, Suki brings up the lunch Kody and Christine had together early in this season. They hadn't seen each other in a while, and then Christine goes back into Flagstaff. They get together for lunch. It was the lunch where I think Kody acted like a really big jerk. I think he just was not kind to her. He was very cold, which I expect there to be a bit of coldness there between people recently divorced. It might not be a warm meeting, but I just thought he said things and acted in a way he didn't need to. It was where Christine brought up COVID, and then Kody had this ridiculous reaction to the whole thing. That episode, I'm sure you guys all remember it. So Suki starts focusing in on that, and they end up showing that episode, and we get to see Kody and Christine sort of in the corner and their reactions to it all. And Suki just ends up asking Kody directly, was it hard to see her happy there? You know, was it hard to see that she was happy and doing well? And this is Kody's response.
She's not happy, she's mean. There's a difference. I know her. She's not sure she's happy. She's mocking everything about my pain, about anything that I've gone through.
So you hear Kody say that Christine is not really happy. She is mean and she is mocking him. None of that surprised me. This is classic Kody Brown. That's what he was saying at the lunch, and that's what he is continuing to say. She's just being mean to him. I will say this, if you watch it, Christine laughs about the fact that she's not married to him anymore, and she is happy about it. But you know what? I think it's genuine happiness. It may hurt his feelings. It may seem mean to him, but I think she's really happy that she doesn't have to deal with him anymore. And maybe there is some part of her that is enjoying the fact that Kody is having to deal with the consequences of his actions. I know as a viewer, I'm enjoying it. I think Kody should have to face the facts. He was not a great father. He was not a great husband, contrary to how he feels about himself. And you know what? There is a consequence to that. He doesn't have good relationships with his kids, and he doesn't have, he doesn't have good marriages. Those marriages don't even exist anymore because of his actions and inactions. So he's having to deal with the consequences, and I'm sure there's a part of Christine that enjoys watching it just as much as we do, maybe even more. But I don't think she's necessarily going out of her way to be mean on the show. You know, it's just, it is what it is. To me, she looks really happy. I'm just not surprised to hear Kody say it's mean and mocking. That is what Kody always does. After this, it switches over to Christine, and she gives a surprising response when it comes to that episode. She says that she likes Disney villains more than she likes the Disney princesses. And in that episode, she was being the villain. She said it felt really good too, because now she can finally be herself. She can say when things hurt. She can say when she's unhappy. She doesn't have to try to suppress her feelings, which is something we saw a lot in the early seasons of the show. They were always trying to minimize how they felt, and here she is just being honest, and she says it feels really good, and that now Kody is going to have to see who she truly is. After this, it goes back over to Suki and Kody. Suki asks Kody, "Do you blame Christine for ruining the big picture?" Now, this is something that was brought up during that lunch episode. Christine said she was being blamed for ruining Kody's big picture of the family. Kody in this tell-all says no, he doesn't. He blames himself for marrying a woman that he wasn't in love with. Now, in some ways, I was like, okay, that's an okay answer. But if you think about it, he's told us that he never loved Meri and he was never in love with Janelle. He loved them and he cared about them, but he was never in love with them. He's only been in love with Robyn, right? That's what Kody has told us. So is he saying he just wished none of that happened? I think that is so incredibly hurtful and unnecessary. Kody could say, hey, you know what? Those marriages didn't work in the beginning. I don't blame anyone. There was no big picture at all. You know, that there was nothing to ruin like that. Like, no one's to blame. He could have actually gave an answer to that question that wasn't hurtful, but I genuinely feel like Kody tries to find a way to answer every question in a way that's going to hurt Meri, Christine, and Janelle. But that is just what I think. You guys can let me know if you notice that about Kody as well, or maybe you disagree. Yeah, go ahead and let me know in the comments what you think. After this, it goes back over to Christine and they talk about Robyn. Suki asks Christine if she thinks that Robyn really wants to live a plural life. Christine says she doesn't think Robyn has any desire at all to live polygamy or a plural marriage. Now, I knew as soon as Christine said that if Kody found out about it, he was going to have something to say. And that's exactly what happens. They switch the show over to Kody and Suki tells Kody what Christine says. And just as I expected, this gets Kody kind of worked up. He says that Christine never really knew Robyn and that Christine was a bad sister wife. He also adds this.
And I would think that now that she's in love with David, that she should prove that out by never saying another mean thing about Robyn.
Okay.
He also goes further and adds that he will believe that Christine is in love when she is no longer saying bad things to the kids about himself and Robyn. Now, here's my perspective on this. I think as long as the show goes on, there's going to be some talking about each other. But I do think there's going to come this point where Christine does move on and she doesn't really know what Kody's doing and what Robyn's doing, but she's still going to hear about them. She's still going to hear about Kody as a father and as a grandfather for her kids and for her grandkids. So she's still going to know how he is behaving and how he's treating the kids, even if she's not really interested in talking about him anymore. And I just think as long as this show is on, that's going to be what the show is about. And when they stop talking about each other, there's not going to be that much of a show, and Robyn and Kody are going to have to go get jobs. After this, it goes back over to Christine. She says that Kody and Robyn deserve to be happy with each other. She says that Kody needs to stop being angry. Christine also adds that she understands how Kody feels about Robyn now because she feels that way about David. So she understands, what Kody was going through. Of course, he didn't want to go over to another wife's house. He just wanted to be with who he was actually in love with. So Christine says she understands now and that they deserve happiness. Next, it moves over to Janelle. Suki talks about Kody and his future as a polygamist. Janelle says she is certain that Kody and Robyn just want each other and there won't be any new wives. She really thinks that Kody is at a point where he's talking about monogamy and that is what is going to be in his future. So Janelle just thinks polygamy is over for Kody and Robyn. And then after this, it switches over to Kody and Suki asks him, if Robyn was to go out and find someone she wants to have as a sister wife, would you consider getting a new wife? And Kody pauses for a second. He thinks about it, and then he says no. And he explains why he wouldn't have a new wife. And I want you to hear what he says.
Because I would have to tell that woman I will never love you as much as I love her. Because I know better.
I appreciate that Kody realizes that he can't love anyone as much as he loves Robyn and that he shouldn't have another wife. I appreciate that he sees that now, but it is a shame that Meri, Janelle, and Christine had to be the sacrificial lambs. I feel like the years they invested into the marriages with him, you know, the way their kids had to see their dad act, all of that. It's like they were victims of Kody Brown realizing that he could only love one woman. It's, I don't know, like they were placeholders. I think that's what I mean. Until Robyn came along, I'm going to have a wife or two or three. But now Robyn's here, you guys. You can leave. You can go. She's actually here, the real love of my life. And I just feel like that is a really, really sad way to live. So the next part sort of jumps around a bit. It starts off with Meri, and she is talking about Robyn. She says that Robyn must feel really, really sad, but she doesn't blame Robyn. Robyn has nothing to do with the fact that Kody is not, is no longer in love with them and doesn't want to be married to them anymore. So Meri's saying, that's not Robyn's fault. And then it switches over to Suki talking to Robyn. And Suki asks her, are you going to be able to find happiness with just Kody? And Robyn says that she wants to be respectful to Kody and say yes, but she doesn't even know how it's going to all work. She says she thinks it's disrespectful to be happy with Kody because she had made a commitment to the other wives and their children. And Suki tells her, basically you don't need to worry about that. I've talked to the other wives. They say you and Kody are in love and they want you to be happy and that the two of you deserve to be happy. But this isn't good enough for Robyn. She says she wants to hear it off camera and to her face because at this point she just feels like it's disrespecting the commitment that she had originally made to Kody, the wives, and the kids. She says that commitment isn't broken. Robyn just feels like she needs to actually hear it from them, that it's okay to be happy without them being married to Kody as well. Suki talks a little bit about the possibility that, Robyn actually needs released from that commitment and that maybe she does need to hear that from the other wives. And I can understand why Robyn might feel like she needs that. But on the other hand, I can fully understand if you're one of the other wives, like if you're Christine and you're like, I've moved on, I am not coming back to give you some sort of release so you feel good about yourself. Like I can fully understand why Meri, Janelle, or Christine might not want to have that conversation and take the time out of their lives to do that with Robyn. Like I think Robyn's going to need to overcome this on her own. And you know what? She had no problem being happy with Kody when he was neglecting his marriages. So why can't she be happy with Kody when he's not married to the other women? I don't know. This is just one of those things. I think in Robyn's mind, it makes her look like a good person, that she's having such a hard time getting past the divorces. But realistically, it doesn't mean anything to me that Robyn's crying. She cries all the time. After Robyn, this show switches back over to Christine, and she is talking all about David. He ends up coming out, and we all get to see him, and he introduces himself. He says that he was married for over 20 years. He has 8 kids and 10 grandkids. He says his wife had passed away 11 years ago. He talks about the first date he had with Christine, and then Suki brings up physical attraction. She wants to know if David was physically attracted to Christine when he met her, and he says he likes everything about her, and we all know why that was brought up. It was brought up because of Kody and that stupid nacho story that should have never been told. There was no reason for Kody to tell that story publicly. He could have kept that to himself, but Kody never keeps anything to himself, so it is what it is. Now, after this, there is a part that I really liked. Suki asked David about Christine being on the show, and David responds by saying, this isn't going to last forever. and then he's going to end up growing old with Christine. So he's looking at her for who she is and not the show and not all the media stuff that comes with being on the show. He's really thinking about who she is and what life will be like when it ends. And I just thought that was a really good answer, because this isn't going to last forever and her life may look really different than it does now. The next part of the show has them going back and talking about one of the episodes that was pretty early in this season. It was the one where there was a Valentine's Day painting party at Christine's house. She had the kids over and they painted pictures with her. I shouldn't say kids, they're her adult children, but they talked about her dating. She talked about why she was leaving Kody and what she was looking for in a new partner. So they showed that part of that episode, and they have Christine and David sitting together, and we see them reacting to it, and then we see Kody reacting to it. And I don't know why, you guys, but I just really enjoyed that Kody had to watch that part, specifically when she was like, I want someone who's bald and like drives a motorcycle, and I want someone that has a good sense of humor, you know, the opposite of Kody. So after they watch that episode, it goes back over to Christine and David. They have some more cute moments, and Christine shares that she got a tattoo, and then David went and got a matching tattoo, and you know, they're just really happy and they're really in love. That's the summary of David and Christine. So it's all cute and nice with them, but then it switches back over to more serious stuff with Kody. Now, I want you to think back to that Valentine's Day episode where Christine was talking to her kids about like wanting to start dating or thinking about dating. And during that episode, Christine says that she did not want her kids to see her stay in a marriage where the person wasn't attracted to her. So Kody has just sat there and he's watched that, and now he's responding to Suki about what he thinks about Christine saying that with the kids. And I want to put in the clip of what Kody says right here. So listen to Kody.
But once again, I got a problem with her kind of setting my kids against me in order to gain favor with her. And that's what I see happening there.
So when Kody watches that episode, he sees Christine trying to get the kids to gain favor by siding with her. All I kept thinking was, did we watch the same episode? I remember that. All she was doing was having a conversation with her kids about stuff that was very public about her marriage. If Kody didn't want the kids to know that he wasn't attracted to Christine, he shouldn't have wrote that story in their book. Kody is the reason the kids know what they know, and Kody is the only person that tries to get people to gain favor by showing loyalty and choosing sides. Christine has never given me the impression that that is something that she wants to do. That is a Kody Brown thing. He says that if Christine is really in love with David, that she's going to quit trash talking him. Well, number one, Christine doesn't say anything that Kody doesn't say or do publicly. And also, he loves Robyn and he trash talks everyone, his ex-wives, his wives when he's still married to them, and his kids. So that's just not true. You know what I mean? Like, I think Christine is very much in love with David. I think because of the show and because of the fact that she has kids with Kody, she is still going to talk about him sometimes. That's just life. It doesn't mean that she doesn't love David. If that's true, then Kody doesn't love Robyn because he trash talks everyone. After Kody is done talking about all of that nonsense, it goes back to Christine and David. Christine talks about how she knew that Kody didn't like kissing her, and that made her feel really insecure when it came to starting a new relationship. But David tells her that, you know, she's a great kisser, and he shares that he just loves everything about her. So all of the parts of the show with David and Christine are kind of mushy and sweet. Just if you haven't watched it yet, I'm just going to warn you, be ready for a lot of like mushy, sweet stuff happening with them too. But after this, it goes back over to Kody, and he's sort of on a roll, and he starts going in a bit of a weird direction. And you know that part of Kody that comes off as being a little bit like paranoid that everyone's talking about him? He can do that. That's what he's doing during this part of the tell-all. So Suki is there talking to Kody, and she brings up that in a previous episode, Kody had said he felt like Christine was Machiavellian. Now, he responds during the tell-all by saying that this was his experience with her. But maybe it'll be different with David if she is really in love with David. But going a little bit further, he adds that, it's normal for people to act that way if they're trying to get their way during a marriage. So he's sort of going back and forth a little bit with this. But there was a part of this scene that I wanted to show you guys. Here is a clip of Kody talking about what it might be like in the future if him and Robyn become friends with David and Christine.
I'm friends. David might be pulling me aside and going, dude, this is nuts, because he's complaining about his wife. And
so Kody thinks that one day he might be friends with David, and David might come over and vent to him about Christine. And then his response, according to what Kody says during this tell-all, his response is going to be like, no, don't say that, dude. You need to be loyal to your wife. I'm like, Kody, the guy who trash talks everyone, is going to tell someone else not to vent about their marriage? Kody doesn't get to do that. That's not something that happens. I also think the whole situation where they become friends and hang out and there's any venting going on is just ridiculous. But I'm not the only person that feels that way. So does Suki, and she pretty much shuts this whole idea down. She tells Kody, that's not happening. She's like, no, that's not happening. I met David. That's not what's going to happen. And I absolutely loved that she made it clear that she thought Kody was wrong. She was nice about it. She's always really nice. I think she seems like a really nice person. But sometimes I feel like she's a pushover. But in this situation, she was like, no, David's not going to come vent to you about Christine. After this, the show switches back over to David and Christine. David says that Kody is wrong about Christine. Remember the whole Machiavellian comment? That is what David is talking about. David said she's not someone who's backstabbing. She's not someone who's conniving. If anything, Christine is a little bit clueless about things. And you know what? I could see that. When you're watching Christine, she's quirky, and you can see sometimes she might be a little bit clueless. I think Christine has a good heart. So David is sticking up for her. Suki asked David about his impression of Kody, and David gives a very kind response. He says that Kody wears his emotions on his sleeve and that he wants you to hear him. And I think that's true. Kody Brown likes to be heard, and he always has something to say. So I think David was nice. I do think it was a little dig at Kody, but it wasn't really bad. Kody does like to be heard. Now, after this, it switches back over to Kody, and Kody is still on a roll, you guys. He's still doing that thing where, everyone is out to get him. And this is what he has to say about Christine talking bad about him.
Christine has to destroy my character, or David doesn't feel like he can marry her because she left a good man.
I have tried to record my response to that comment that Kody made. So many times it's getting a bit ridiculous. I start going in all sorts of different directions about my feelings about what Kody is saying there. So I've decided to sort of give up, and I'm just going to say this. I think Kody's thinking is incredibly immature. I think that is just a very childish way of looking at exes and relationships and marriage. People get divorced for all sorts of reasons. It's not always because their ex is a bad person, and those reasons are still good reasons to get divorced. Christine does not need to talk bad about Kody to make David be okay with marrying her. And I think Kody needs to spend a little bit more time thinking about what he said there. I know he's not going to, but he should. And that's all I'm going to say, because I'll keep going on and on and on about it. And you guys will be like, what happened? What did she spend the last 10 minutes talking about? So I'm just going to stop there and move on. Now, I'm not the only person who has an issue with what Kody said there. Suki does as well, and she politely shuts that whole idea down. She tells Kody that she met David and doesn't think David feels the same way at all. She basically says that David's a normal person and thinks that the marriage between Kody and Christine just didn't work out. They're not in love. And now David is in love with Christine, and he doesn't have to say bad things about Kody. So Suki does a pretty good job at this part of the show, really telling Kody when he's wrong, and I was happy to see her do it. Now, Kody isn't done yet. he is still talking about it, and he responds to Suki by saying that he vetted Robyn differently. He vetted Robyn hard to make sure that she didn't leave a good man or he wasn't going to marry her. And then Suki gives another response, and I'm going to go ahead and put that in here so you can see it.
Okay, but I'm telling you, I met David, and he doesn't think ill of you. It's not even about that.
Good.
Now, Suki tells him that he's wrong. She does it a few times at the end of this tell-all, and I really appreciate that she does it, and she does it in a way that keeps Kody calm. But I still think he's on blood pressure medication because his face doesn't get as red as it used to, and he doesn't just flip out the way that he used to. He's a lot more calm. But he does say that he cannot let go of how Christine talked about him to the kids. He just cannot let go of that. And I think it's ridiculous because even if Christine said, nothing at all, and if Christine made a pledge to never say Kody's name again, it wouldn't matter because the show and the way he treats the kids, that's all the evidence that we need to see that Kody's not a great dad. Like, Christine doesn't have to do anything. Kody is doing it all himself. But I just don't think Kody is mentally in a place where he can realize that. Now, after this, the show goes back to David, Christine, and Suki. They talk about, David talks about his experience with dating and kids, and he says his kids had to come first. And Suki asked him, she asked David, what do you think happened with Christine and Kody? And he says he doesn't know, but he does say that between the two of them, it's the whole package. He's getting everything he needs in a relationship, and Christine is as well. After this, it moves on to them talking about the engagement and how, David had planned this really sweet proposal. Christine says that she's excited to be in love and get married, and that she's going to be inviting Janelle and Janelle's kids to the wedding. Now, she won't be inviting Kody and Robyn, but she says she reached out to Robyn's kids. They didn't respond, but she says that she's okay with that because she's not very close to them right now, and everyone needs time to process what's happened. She also adds that she is going to be inviting Kody's siblings and mom. Some of them have already RSVP'd. Now, she adds that she's not going to invite Meri, but she is inviting Leon and Audrey. They're going to wear the wedding colors and be included in the wedding photos. Now, after this, it switches over to Meri, and Suki asks Meri if she thinks she's going to be invited, and Meri says no, but she's okay with that. She says that having her there would be like bringing emotional baggage, and she understands why Christine wouldn't want that at her wedding. Meri also adds that she hopes to get married someday, and that she hopes she can find someone that loves her, cherishes her, and knows her heart and likes it. And you guys, I hope that happens for Meri. I think Meri looks happier during this tell-all than she did throughout the season. So I think she's like already at a better place. So I'm rooting for Meri to find some happiness. After this, the show goes over to Janelle, and she says that she's going to Christine's wedding and is having a special dress made. Suki asks her about the possibility of reconciling with Kody, and Janelle says she never sees that happening. She also talks a little bit about who her celebrity crush is. This is something that's been brought up on the show before. Janelle's celebrity crush is Gerard Butler, and she also likes Jason Momoa, but that's who Suki brings up for her. But Janelle says she likes Jason Momoa as well. We find out that Meri's celebrity crush is Matthew McConaughey, and Robyn likes Ryan Reynolds, and Kody likes Sophia Loren. So that is where the show ends. I think it ended on a really good note. I did think this was the end. I thought there weren't going to be any more episodes until the next season, but it looks like we're just going to continue on. And it also looks like the next episode, they're going to go back and have them watch like episodes from earlier seasons or scenes from older episodes. And I am all for it. Like, I think that is something they need to do because I don't think they remember everything that happened on the show. I know I don't. There are so many times I'll say something and then you guys in the comments will be like, don't you remember season 7? And I'm like, no, guys, I forgot. Even though I've rewatched so many of these episodes, I forget because the show has been on for so long. But I thought this was a pretty good final tell-all. I thought we got to see Kody being Kody, doing that thing where he gets really paranoid and everyone's talking about him, and saying things that don't really make sense to most people. I think we saw that here during this tell-all. I think Meri looks like she's doing better than she did during the other episodes. Janelle seems happy. Christine looks happy. Robyn is crying. I hope that is something that we can put an end to. Wouldn't that be a great season 19 for Sister Wives? Robyn stops crying. I don't think it's going to happen, but that would be an interesting twist we weren't expecting. But that is it, you guys. I will be doing some more Sister Wives videos this week leading up to Christmas. And of course, I will still continue to recap and do commentary on whatever episodes are headed our way. So I hope you come back for that. And if you haven't already and feel like it, leave a comment below, click like and subscribe, and come back to Happily Ever Reality.